Hi guys. So in this video, I majorly want to cover 3-4 things. Number one is how to create a workbook, how to add fresh data sources in the same grid, and these two are correlated, right? Once you have actually pulled in data from a specific source, and if you want to pull in more data, how you can do so, how filters work essentially, and how to add more rows in case you are operating on a blank grid, right? So these are 4-5 things. These are sort of like basics of Bitscale. So I thought I'll just create one small video with all of these data points, right? Okay, so we're inside a grid right now. If you have any confusion as to how you can reach here, I'll just show you from the starting point, from the platform itself. And so once you're on the platform, you can either create a new grid from here or open any of these grids and you'll just reach this position, right? So first things first, how to add more data sources into the same grid. Now the grid is sort of like an Excel like UI wherein there's a data source and then you have enrichments, some operational steps, maybe some formula columns, etc., some transformations that are happening, and then you consume the data at the end or send it to your CRM or your outbound channel of choice. And sometimes you would want that multiple data sources are in that same grid because the steps that need to be performed on each of these data sources are the same. Basic logic, nothing too complicated here. So for that, you can just head over to data sources here. You would find company, find people, import CSV, which are the sort of like the boilerplate data sources. You can select that from here itself. If you want to pull in some other data source, if you just click on other here, it will open up that new grid list from wherein you can pick whatever data source that you want to pull. So I'll just click on find people here and I'll just select project manager as a simple filter. I'll preview the results. And yeah, we have the results available. And if I click on add to current grid, it will simply add those 100 rows here, right? Now, if you ever want to pull in, you must have noticed, I'll just head back over here. You must have noticed that we had found a huge number of results, 3.4 million actually. So if you ever want to pull in, let's say, more data from that data source, right? You simply head back over to data sources, click on the source from which you want to pull in more data. All of them would be listed right here, one after another. So it's like fairly simple. And just click on the one where you want to pull in more data from and select as many rows as you need. The highest batch size is 1,000 rows, but that is not a limiter per se, as long as you have searches available in this case, or if you're pulling data from your CRM, as long as data is available, you can just fetch rows multiple times and you can pull all the rows. So we'll just click on 500 rows here, fetch rows, and the new rows will be added to the grid. All right. So this was fairly simple, nothing too complicated. Basically, this showed you like two things. Number one is how you can add more data sources into the same grid, and how you can pull in more data from the said sources. The next part is actually creating a workbook. So you would notice that at the bottom left, you see two grids here together. This simply means that we are right now inside a workbook. Now, how do you create a workbook, right? How can you have multiple grids together so that your workspace remains clean, or if you want the grids to communicate into one another? Now, a very simple way to do this is something that you guys must be using on your own as well, is whenever you find people or find, contacts using this, where is it? Find people from company. You can add those into a separate grid, and whenever you do that functionality, it creates a workbook. That we already know. How can you do that using the data sources, right? Basically, if you just head over here and we perform the same thing we were doing when we were adding a fresh data source inside the same grid. So find people itself. But instead of adding to current grid, if we click on import to new grid, it would simply convert this grid into a workbook. That is what I did earlier also, which is why I have, wait, I'll close this. two grids here. So this is also fairly simple. You can do so to convert this into a workbook. Other than that, if you want to schedule uh, your sources, now the find people is also schedulable if you want to. Like if you want 100 rows to be pulled in every day and run, you can do so. And to do that, just head back over to the data source that you want to schedule. Click on scheduling, set the schedule that you want to run on, and just save that. And this simply means that every day 100 new rows would be pulled in to the grid, and then the grid can process upon it. For it to work completely, you would have to click on auto run grid and auto dedupe here, so that whatever new data points you are pulling, it's running across the grid. So yeah, majorly this is what I wanted to show you from the data sources aspect at least. It's sort of like bread and butter here at Bitscale. So as long as you have clarity in how the data sources button works at the top left in your grid, I think you would be able to carry out most of your use cases. And yeah, if you have any other questions, do reach out to us. Cheers, bye.